Look at that. Yeah, cross on out there.
Yeah. Did you see that those stables aren't very big? They couldn't lie down in them, could they?
He's looking a bit dirty, actually. He's been having a bit of a roll around.
That's good.
Good Galcon.
But if you today, you will find that there are falconers around, and if somebody holds a falcon in a particular way, it's called under my thumb. State coach, and this was actually purchased by Queen Victoria and her husband Prince Albert in 1853, and basically the situation was it cost a total of £858. It was seen in the Irish exhibition regularly, and was used in fact at the wedding to take some of the guests, Charles, etc., back to the As people say to me, how do you get the coaches out? And in fact, I was standing down by the visitor entrance recently, and a coach went by with two guys just pushing them because they are very light. But this particular coach is not scholars, an Australian citizen, has their name put into this book, which is here. Come in a bit closer so you can see it. Now this coach is known as the glass coach, and the reason it's called the glass coach is because the upper panelling, which is usually made of wood and leather, is made of glass. But it's better known, I think, as the bridal coach. And the reason for that is that Elizabeth Lady Bowes-Lyons, who was the Queen Mother, travelled in this coach and was actually married. Queen herself left the Abbey and came back to Buckingham Palace in this coach, but maybe it's most famously known for the coach that Lady Diana Spencer travelled in 1981 in her wedding. And indeed, if it had been raining on the day of the royal wedding, this is the coach that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge would have actually travelled in. But they used the landau, which you'll see a little bit later, on the side panelling. Has anybody ever heard of the Noble Order of the Garter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, what it is, it's the highest act of chivalry in England. Built in 1831, and it was actually built for, believe it or not, the Duke of Cambridge. And he purchased it for the coronation of his brother, William IV, which was in 1831. And it was then, in fact, sold to the Earl of Albemarle, who was actually the master of the horses for the Queen. And he used it for the coronation of Edward VII. And their date of births. And these are horses that are here within the quadrangle, within the mews at this time. Now you might be saying, well, where are the horses? Well, there's three horses you will see on your way out. So you're going to see three of them. One of which, in fact, is a Windsor Grey, which is Daniel, who was involved in pulling the Queen's carriage when it came down the Mall, and two Cleveland Bays. Now, the Windsor Grey, but they certainly do. And they're traditionally Windsor Greys, which is Daniel, and you'll see him when he goes at the end of the tour. You may not recognise it particularly because it's still got the roof on, and the roof is only on actually to protect. 61, she was a widow, and she was a widow in mourning for 40 years, and in that time she only made 7 public. It was the comfort factor. All the other coaches were very rough to ride because they had no stringing, as you can imagine. So this coach was particularly used by Edmondson and has been used by a number of brides and bridegrooms since that time. And indeed, as we saw on the day, coming down there, she quite often travels. And if she has state visits, people travel in this one. And there's a state visit in November. And if the weather's reasonable, then they may well travel in this. Any particular? Can I just ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to move around to the right-hand side so you've all got a very good view.
Gosh.
Some people think it's a little bit gaudy. Indeed, it may well be. But I think the most important thing about it is just look at the workmanship on this. And if you remember, I talked to you initially about postilion riding. And do you remember I said to you some of the horses are pulled by from the coach or by the front? And this is what is called by postilion riding, where you actually have 24 layers of gold leaf. Now, the reason for this is that in 1762, when this coach was built, and it was built by Sir William Chambers, who also built the riding school here, by the way, in 1762, George III each either side get it out. And once they get it out, they'll then go into the quadrangle and they'll repair it there. Where it used to be is where the car is now. And the reason they actually moved it here